আখৰবিলাক ফকাছ হলে হল আৰু মানুহটো ফকাছ নহলে হ'ব নমস্কাৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকল মোৰ নাম উজ্জ্বল দত্ত তোমালোকক আজি মই তোমালোকৰ সাধাৰণ বিজ্ঞানৰ জীৱন প্ৰক্ৰিয়া অৰ্থাৎ লাইফ প্ৰসেসেস যেটো চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰ 6 তাৰ কিছুমান আমি এমসিকিউ কোৱেশ্চন আজি ডিসকাশন কৰিম কথাটো হল এই যেটো চেপ্টাৰ আছে এই চেপ্টাৰটো তোমালোকৰ যেটো কুৱেশনৰ ওয়েটেজ কুৱেশনৰ ওয়েটেজ কমেও 3টা 4টা 5টা মানলৈকে কুৱেশন থাকিব পাৰে 4টা কুৱেশনটো থাকিব পাৰে সো সেই কাৰণে এই চেপ্টাৰটো খুব সুন্দৰভাৱে আমি পঢ়িব লাগিব হয়তো তোমালোকে এই চেপ্টাৰটো গোটেইখিনি ভালকে পঢ়ি চাই সেই কাৰণে আমি আৰু অকল এমসিকিউ ডিসকাস কৰিম আৰু কুৱেশন বিলাকৰ লগতে যিখিনি আমাৰ লাগতিয়াল ইনফৰমেশন তোমালোকক দিব লাগে মই সকলো বিলাক ইনফৰমেশন দিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিম তোমালোকে ভালকে চাবা আৰু যদি কিবা কুৱেশন থাকে সেই কুৱেশন বিলাক তোমালোকে কমেন্ট সেকশনত লিখিবা মই উত্তৰ দিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিম চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰ এই চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰটো চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰ 6 তোমালোকৰ কাৰণে চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰ 6 কিন্তু সিবিএসই কাৰণে এটা চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰ 5 হয় কাৰণ সিবিএসই এটা কেমিষ্ট্ৰি এটা চেপ্টাৰ কম থকাৰ কাৰণে তোমালোকৰ এটা চেপ্টাৰ নম্বৰটো 6 হৈছে হিয়তৰ 5 তো যি হক আমি ডিসকাস কৰিছো লাইফ প্ৰসেস মানে কি লাইফ প্ৰসেস হৈছে দা বেসিক এক্টিভিটি that a body of a living organism is doing for maintaining its life is called as life processes. So life processes is essential for what? Life process is essential for our growth, survival, reproduction of the organism. এতিয়া আমি এই গোটেই চেপ্টাৰটোত লাইফ প্ৰসেসেস চেপ্টাৰটোত আমি 4টা স্পেশাল ভাগত ডিভাইড কৰি থোৱা আছে আৰু সেই ডিভাইড কৰা বস্তু কেইটা হৈছে সেই ডিভাইড কৰি থোৱা বস্তু কেইটা হৈছে ফাৰ্স্ট হৈছে নিউট্ৰিশন যত কি হয় the process by which the organism obtain and utilize food for energy second portion to hoise respiration means the release of energy ami jikhini khwa bostu khalu সেই khwa bostu khini pura kenekoi energy body to uliabo সেই process to ami respiration chapter to ami discuss korim respiration part to discuss korim tar bisot ahile transportation mane body eta part pura an eta part ole kenekoi beleg dhoroner samogri bilak eta onkhor pura anta onkhor kenekoi jabo so that we have to discuss in transportation the movement of substances like water food and gases within the body and the last part is excretion which involves the removal of the waste material in this portion again these portions are being divided into two parts first for the plants and for the animals it means that how nutrition takes place in plants and how it takes place in animals secondly in the respiration part how respiration takes place in plants and animals separately similarly for transportation also we have to discuss this thing for plants also and for animals also ta mane ami udbidor karone ba jibo udbidor karone aru animalor karone duita karone ami belege chapter to poribo lagibo aru ei chapter to tumaloke hoyto already পঢ়ি চাই ডিসকাস কৰিছে আমি এই চেপ্টাৰটোৰ কিছুমান খুব ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট কোৱেশ্চন কিছুমান ডিসকাস কৰিম এমসিকিউ কোৱেশ্চন আৰু মই যিকিটা কোৱেশ্চন লৈ আইছো এই সকলো বিলাক কোৱেশ্চন পৰীক্ষা 2026 পৰীক্ষাৰ কাৰণে খুবেই ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট তোমালোকে সিবিএসই হোৱা বা সেবা হোৱা দুইটাৰ কাৰণে এই কোৱেশ্চনস বিলাক ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হয় অলৰেডি বহুত কোৱেশ্চন অলৰেডি আহি গৈছে বা বহুত কোৱেশ্চন অলৰেডি আমি বেলেগ পৰীক্ষাত এনেকা ধৰণৰ কোৱেশ্চন আমি দেখা পাইছো এতিয়া প্ৰথম কোৱেশ্চনটো হৈছে in human alimentary canal the specific enzyme juice secreted in location mouth liver and stomach এই তিনিটা জায়গাত কি এনজাইম পোৱা যায় তো প্ৰথম কথা হল যে মাউথ উইথ যে যেতিয়া ফার্স্ট আমি নিউট্ৰিশন ইন হিউমেনত আমি যেতিয়া খোৱা বস্তু এটা মুখেৰে লওঁ তেনেহলে প্ৰথমে আমি মুখেৰে এটা চিউ কৰো চুবাও আৰু চুবালে কি হয় মাউথ সিক্ৰেটস এন এনজাইম মাউথ সিক্ৰেটস salivary amylase বুলি এটা এনজাইম সিক্ৰেট কৰে যিটো এনজাইমটো কোড থাকে saliva থাকে the mouth secretes saliva mouth have salivary glands mouthত actually তিনটা salivary gland থাকে তোমালোকৰ কিতাপত হেতু বিষয় দি থোৱা নাই parotid submaxillary আৰু sublingual বুলি তিনিটা gland থাকে কিন্তু তোমালোকৰ বুকত অকল salivary glands বুলি লিখা আছে সেই তিনটা glandsৰ কি সিক্ৰেট কৰে saliva সিক্ৰেট কৰে আৰু সেই saliva কি প্ৰডিউস কৰে saliva consists of salivary amylase বুলি এটা এনজাইম আছে তাৰ মানে মাউথে সিক্ৰেট কৰা এনজাইমটোৰ নাম হৈছে amylase second আছে liver so you know আমাৰ ডাইজেস্টিভ আমাৰ বডিত সবতকৈ ডাঙৰ গ্ল্যান্ডটো হৈছে liver আৰু লিভাৰে সিক্ৰেট কৰে বাইল জুস আৰু তোমালোকে জানা না বাইল জুসৰ কামটো কি তো বাইল জুসৰ কাম হৈছে যে বাইল জুস হেল্প ইন ইমালসিফিকেশন অফ ফ্যাট ফ্যাটৰ ইমালসিফিকেশন মানে কি ডাঙৰ big fat globules getting converted to small fat globules liver it secretes bile and the third is stomach so stomach ki secret kore stomach secretes pepsin enzyme stomach secrete pepsin enzyme so stomach ka jitu secret kore he enzyme tu hoise pepsin aur pepsin er kaam hoise ami janu stomach secret hua जितु गैस्ट्रिक जूस का तीनटा कंपोनेंट থাকে हे कंपोनेंट केटा होइছে फर्स्ट कंपोनेंट टू होइছে हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड सेकंड कंपोनेंट टू होइছে स्टोमक के सिक्रेट करे पेप्सिन एंजाइम और थर्ड कंपोनेंट टू होइছে गैस्ट्रिक म्यूकस हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिडर काम होइছে हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिडे it converts inactive pepsinogen amar pepsin jitu enzyme secret hoy he enzyme to eta inactive form of secret hoy aru he inactive form to active form ole convert kore hydrochloric acid aru hydrochloric acid er kaam hoche je hydrochloric acid tar logote hydrochloric acid it also kills the bacteria and other harmful microorganisms that enters into our body third hoche jitu mucus er kaam hoche je mucus e ta जितु हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिडर कोरोसिव एक्शनर পৰা আমাৰ ইনাৰ লাইনিং অফ দা স্টমাক টু প্ৰটেক্ট কৰে okay so digestive system to so first this is the mouth consists of salivary gland this is the stomach secretes gastric juice then this is the liver secretes bile er pasot ahile pancreas secretes pancreatic juice aru last one is intestine small intestine secretes intestinal juice and this intestinal juice helps in the breakdown of the food molecules okay so next question the event that does not occur in photosynthesis okay আমি এতিয়া আগতে এই মাত্ৰ ডিসকাস কৰিলো যে কেনেকে আমাৰ দেহত হিউম্যানৰ বডিত কেনেকে ফুডৰ ডাইজেশন হয় কিন্তু এতিয়া নেক্সট হৈছে যে প্ল্যান্টছৰ কেনেকে ডাইজেশন হয় তাৰ এটা কোৱেশ্চন আছে যে the event that does not occur in photosynthesis কোনটো ইভেন্ট এয়াৰ ভিতৰত ফটোসিনথেসিসত নহয় ফাৰ্স্ট হৈছে যে absorption of light energy by chlorophyll reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrate third option oxidation of carbon to carbon dioxide and conversion of light energy into chemical energy এতিয়া তোমালোকে যেতিয়া চ্যাপ্টাৰটো পঢ়িছা ফটোসিনথেসিসৰ ইভেন্টস কিটা হয়তো মনত আছে first is what is photosynthesis you know that photosynthesis is the process where the food molecule is being produced by the plants using sunlight water carbon dioxide by the chlorophyll which is present in the leaves আৰু সেই ফটোসিনথেসিসৰ কেইটামান স্টেপস আছে আৰু সেই স্টেপস কিটা হৈছে ফার্স্ট স্টেপ টু হৈছে সোয়া প্ৰথম হৈছে যে absorption of the light energy by chlorophyll প্ৰথমে chlorophyll which is present inside the chloroplast of the cell plant cell কি প্ৰথমে কি absorb কৰিব light energy absorb কৰিব second he conversion he the light energy তে এই ফটোসিনথেসিস লাইট এনার্জিতে ফটোসিনথেসিসত দৰকাৰ হোৱা যিখিনি এনাৰ্জি হে এনাৰ্জিখিনি কনভাৰ্ট কৰিব কি হলে কনভাৰ্ট কৰিব সোলাৰ এনাৰ্জিটো কেমিক্যাল এনাৰ্জি আৰু দ্যাট কেমিক্যাল এনাৰ্জি ইজ ইন দা ফৰ্ম অফ এটিপি তোমালোকে হয়তো শুনিছা এটিপি ফুল ফৰ্ম হৈছে এডিনোসাইন ট্ৰাইফসফেট তাৰ লগতে the second step is conversion of the light energy to chemical energy along with the breakdown of the water molecule to breakdown hoy H2O to get H2O get broken down to form H2O get broken down to form hydrogen plus oxygen লগতে ইলেক্ট্ৰনো প্ৰডিউস হয় এবিলাক তোমালোকে হায়াৰ ষ্টাডিজ ক্লাস 11 ত পঢ়িবলৈ পাবা আৰু এই অক্সিজেন this is the oxygen that plant releases during the process of photosynthesis আৰু এই processটো কি হয় second step and the third step is reduction of carbon dioxide এতিয়া মই যদি কোৱেশ্চন ইয়াৰ যেটো কোৱেশ্চন আছিল এই কোৱেশ্চনটো তোমালোকে চাওঁচোন ইয়াত কোনটো স্টেপ the first step is absorption of light energy by the chlorophyll this is the step 1 second conversion of light energy this is option number 1 option number this is 3 sorry it in the step 5 the kuntu step no hoy that step is this so this will be the answer sorry next what is the function of KOS taken in the test tube is to absorb okay so তোমালোকে কিতাপত এটা এক্সপেৰিমেন্ট কৰি থোৱা আছিল this is the experiment তোমালোকে হয়তো দেখি মনত পৰিছে যে এক্সপেৰিমেন্টটো হৈছে to prove that the carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis এই এক্সপেৰিমেন্টত কি কৰা হৈছে যে দুটা বেলজাৰ লোৱা হৈছে আৰু সেই বেলজাৰ দুটা ভিতৰত দুটা পটেড প্লেন লোৱা হৈছে প্ৰথমে কি কৰা হৈছে পটেড প্লেন গিটা ডিস্টাৰ্চিং কৰা হৈছে ডিস্টাৰ্চিং কৰা মানে পটেড প্লেনটো প্ৰথমে দুই 3-4 দিন এটা ডাৰ্ক ৰুমৰ ভিতৰত ৰখা হয় আৰু সেই প্ৰসেসটোক আমি ডিস্টাৰ্চিং বুলি কিয় কওঁ যে এই গুটি প্ৰসেসটোত প্লেন জুপে লিভছত অলৰেডি প্ৰেজেন্ট থকা ষ্টাৰ্চ খিনি ইউটিলাইজ কৰিব আৰু ডিস্টাৰ্চিং হোৱাৰ পাছত তাক আমি বেলজাৰৰ ভিতৰত সোমাই থোৱা হৈছে আৰু এটা বেলজাৰৰ ভিতৰত পটাছিয়াম হাইড্ৰক্সাইড দি দিয়া হয় তাৰ কাৰণ হৈছে the function of potassium hydroxide is to absorb the carbon dioxide present in that jar তাৰ মানে এই জাৰটোৰ পৰা যেতিয়া পটাছিয়াম হাইড্ৰক্সাইড দি থোৱা আছে ইয়াত কোনো ধৰণৰ কি নাই কাৰ্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড নাই আৰু এটো দিয়া নাই হেকেনে কাৰ্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড আছে তাৰ পাছত এই পটেড প্লেন গিটা will keep it for 2 to 3 days in sun after 2 to 3 days what will do just plug the leaf of both the plants then boil it in water then boil in alcohol and add starch তোমালোকে হে টেষ্টটো হয়তো শিকিছা যে যেতিয়া starchৰ লগত iodine দিয়া হয় iodine যেতিয়া দি দিবা তেনেহলে কি হ'ব it will give blackish blue coloration এটা out of the two potted plant ইয়াৰ যিখন লিফ লোৱা হ'ব সেই লিফখনত যদি আমি এই starch টেষ্ট কৰিম তেনেহলে হি নেগেটিভ দেখাব it means that it will not show the blackish blue coloration whereas এই যেটো পটৰ যেটো লিফ প্লাক কৰি কৰা হ'ব তাত আমি blackish blue coloration পাম তাৰ মানে এই যেটো কোৱেশ্চন আছে এই কোৱেশ্চনটো হৈছে the function of KOS taken in the test tube is to absorb the release carbon dioxide from the plant তে কারণ কার্বন ডাই অক্সাইড রিলিজ কৰিব ডিউরিং প্ল্যান্টত নিজৰ মাজতে কি হ'ব প্ল্যান্টৰ নিজৰ মাজতে respiration কৰিব আৰু সেই respiration processত প্ল্যান্টে নিজে কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড প্ৰডিউস কৰিব আৰু সেই কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড খিনি এবজৰ্ব কৰিবৰ কাৰণে পটাছিয়াম হাইড্ৰক্সাইড দিয়া হয় ওকে এইটো তোমালোকে এক্সপেৰিমেন্টটো দেখিছা এটা খুবই ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট এক্সপেৰিমেন্ট তোমালোকে এবাৰ ভালকৈ পঢ়ি লবা ইয়াৰ পৰা কোৱেশ্চন আহাৰ চান্সেস আছে ওকে নেক্সট এতিয়া মই এইটো কোৱেশ্চনৰ কথা কলো এইটো কোৱেশ্চনৰ এইটো আনসাৰ তোমালোকে দিয়া হয়তো পটককে দিবও পাৰিবা অলৰেডি মই বুজাই দিলো যে আইডিন সলিউশন gives blue black color which so a simple answer to হৈছে stars stars কিয় কাৰণ আয়োডিনে যেতিয়া স্টাৰ্চৰ লগত ৰিঅ্যাকশন কৰে তেনেহলে হি এটা blackish blue coloration কৰে আৰু সেই blackish blue coloration টোৱে it is the confirmatory test of presence of stars in a substance. Okay, so next. Okay, now ever question to অকমান ভালকে পঢ়িবা. A student was asked to write a stepwise procedure to demonstrate that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. The wrongly worded step is. So I have already discussed this with you. Now তোমালোকে এতিয়া question কিটা পঢ়া আৰু try কৰা. তাত প্ৰথম কথাটো হ'ল যে both the potted plants are kept in dark room for at least 3 days. So this is the step. First step is this. Second, bottom of the bale jar is sealed to make it airtight. Yes, definitely we have to seal the bottle. আমি already তোমাকক মই slide খন দেখাইছিলো. ইয়াত বটলটো আমি কি কৰিব লাগিব? seal কৰিব লাগিব. Okay, third is both potted plants are kept in sunlight after the starch test. And fourth is a leaf of both the plants is taken to test the presence of starch. Definitely this step is to be done, but you see the option C, both potted plants are kept in sunlight after the starch test. So not after that starch test. আমি কি কৰিব লাগিব যে sunlightত থোৱাৰ পাছতহে আমি starch test টো কৰিব লাগিব. So ইয়াত উল্টাকে দিয়া আছে. So therefore the wrongly done step is this one. Okay, I think it is clear to you. So next. Okay, the length of small intestine in a deer is more as compared to the length of small intestine of a tiger. The reason for this is, so this is another important question, is being generally asked in both CBSE and SEBA. এটো কেতিয়াবা কোৱেশ্চনটো লিখিবলৈও দিয়া হয়, কেতিয়াবা এমসিকিউটো দিয়া হয়. তাৰ কাৰণটো হৈছে যে যিবিলাক হাৰ্বিভোৰাছ এনিমেলছ, সো হাৰ্বিভোৰাছ এনিমেলছ বিলাকে কি খায়? হাৰ্বিভোৰাছ এনিমেলছ বিলাকৰ যেটো ফুড কন্টেন্ট তাত সেলুলোজৰ কন্টেন্টটো বেছি. ওকে, আৰু সেলুলোজৰ কন্টেন্টটো বেছি হোৱাৰ কাৰণে সেই সেলুলোজ ব্ৰেকডাউন ইজ কম্পাৰেটিভলি কমপ্লেক্স. অলপ সেলুলোজ ডাইজেশনৰ প্ৰসেসটো কমপ্লেক্স হোৱাৰ কাৰণে তাত দীঘল এডাল ইন্টেস্টাইন দৰকাৰ হয়. সেই কাৰণে ডিয়াৰ বা তেনেকুৱা আদাৰ হাৰ্বিভোৰাছ এনিমেল বিলাকৰ ফুড small intestine dizhal hoy as compared to the tiger, because tiger is a carnivorous animal and meat is easier to digest as compared to the cellulose. So here the option will be the mode of intake of food, the type of food consumed, presence or absence of villi in intestine, and presence of absence of digestive enzymes. So digestive enzymes to thakiboi. So mode of intake of food to duita eke hoy, mukhere khai there holozoic. These organisms are called as holozoics, including us, the organism which takes solid food as like us. So as we take solid food, so we are called as holozoic animals. So mode of intake for both deer and tiger is same. Here the type of food consumed is different. So carnivorous animals, they take more protein content, whereas herbivorous animals take cellulose content is more in their food. So the option here will be type of food it consumes. This will be the answer. Next. Most of the digestion and absorption of the food takes place in. So ইয়াৰ আনসাৰটো তোমালোকে খুব সোনকালে দিবই পাৰিবা যে আমাৰ বডিত ডাইজেশন আমি যদি ওপৰৰ পৰা তললৈ গৈ থাকো তেনেহলে মাউথ consists of saliva and saliva consists of salivary amylase. Salivary amylase helps in digestion of partial digestion of the starch বা partial digestion of the carbohydrate. Similarly, the food goes through the esophagus to the stomach. In the stomach, the protein stomach consists of pepsin, and pepsin helps in the digestion of protein. Then it comes the liver. Liver secretes bile juice. Liver does not have digestive juices. Bile juice does not contain digestive juice, but bile juice helps in the process of emulsification. As you know, emulsification is the process of breakdown of the big fat molecule. into smaller fat molecules. So the digestion, it does not directly help in digestion, but it helps in digestion by the pancreatic juices. So pancreatic juice secreted by the pancreas consists of three substances. You know it: pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lipase, and enzyme trypsin. And the last one is small intestine. Small intestine, the wall of the small intestine contains intestinal juices and it secretes numbers of hormones. So this is the place where the maximum digestion will take place, and it is the place where it consists of villi. Some finger-like projections are present in the small intestine, and these finger-like projections help in absorption of food particles. Okay, so maximum digestion and absorption will take place in small intestine. And what is the function of large intestine? The undigested food. The undigested food of the large intestine will passes to the large intestine where the maximum water will be reabsorbed and it will go out of the body through the rectum. Then the next question. In which of the following groups of organisms food material is broken down outside the body and then absorbed in? So this is one of the very important questions. As you know that the organisms which breaks down the food outside the body are called as saprophytic organisms. You see, these are some of the example of saprophytes. So these are penicillium, it's a fungus. This is mushroom, this is also a fungus, and this is a bacillus, it's a bacteria. And these organisms are called as saprophytic because what they do, they grow on dead and decaying parts of plants and animals, and they digest the food by secreting certain enzymes outside the body, and after being digested, they absorb it. So in this group, you see the first option, mushroom. Mushroom is saprophytic organism, but green plants is not saprophytic and amoeba is not saprophytic. So option A will be cancelled out. Second, yeast mushroom bread mold. So yeast is a fungus, mushroom is also a fungus, and bread mold is also a fungus. All are saprophytic organisms. So option will be B. If you look at the option number C, paramecium is not saprophytic. Similarly, amoeba is not saprophytic. Then cuscuta is not saprophytic. It is a parasitic or plant. Similarly, here cuscuta is there. So the option will be B. I think it's clear to you. Okay, if you have any confusion, write in the comment box. I will try to answer. Okay, next. The function of the lining of mucus in the nasal passages of human being is to. So what is the function of the nasal mucus of the nasal passage? Nasal passage, you know, in our respiratory, this is called our respiratory tract. In our respiratory tract, there is a mucus. So what is the function of it? So now with the options, it increases the temperature of the inhaled air, move the air in and out, filter the air that we breathe in, and absorb oxygen from the air. So the option will be, so it will filter. So most of the dust particle that is present in comes along with the air is being filtered out by the hair-like structure along with the mucus that is present in the lining of the respiratory tract. So this is with the option C. Next question. As compared to terrestrial organism like us, the rate of breathing in aquatic organism is. So can you guess the answer? The answer will be this: the amount of oxygen. The amount of oxygen present in air, you know, it is around 21%. The amount of oxygen present in air is 21%. But the amount of oxygen present in water is around 5 to 7%. So their amount is comparatively very low as compared to the air. So the rate of breathing rate, তোমালোকে কেতিয়াবা চাবাচোন মাছটো যেতিয়া উখালৈ থাকে, মাছটো খুব ফাস্ট উখালৈ থাকে, মুখখন এটা খুব ফাৰ্ষ্ট ৰেস্পিৰেট কৰি থাকে তাৰ কাৰণটো হৈছে যে তেখেতে যিটো অক্সিজেন কিন্তু ৱাটাৰৰ যিটো অক্সিজেনৰ পাৰ্চেন্টেজ আছে সেই পাৰ্চেন্টেজটো বহুত কম এজ কম্পেয়াৰ টু এয়াৰ সো সেই কাৰণে সিহঁতে কম্পেয়াৰটিভলি ফাষ্ট কৰে so the option will be B. It is faster because the amount of dissolved oxygen in water is fairly low. Next, the sequence of anaerobic respiration in our muscle cells during heavy exercise is, you know, the process of respiration. So there are two types of respiration that takes place. One is called aerobic respiration, the type of respiration which takes place in presence of water, and the second one is the anaerobic respiration which takes place in absence of water, air. The aerobic respiration takes place inside the cell, inside the mitochondria of the cell, whereas anaerobic respiration takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. So you see, this is the chart. So the glucose molecule that what we get it from food is being broken down first to pyruvate in the cytoplasm of the cell, and this pyruvate in the yeast cell it gets converted to ethanol or ethyl alcohol, then carbon dioxide and energy, and that takes place in absence of oxygen in the yeast cell. So this is a process of anaerobic respiration. Similarly, during heavy exercise, what happens when our muscle does not get sufficient amount of oxygen? So what happens is if inside the muscle cells it gets converted to lactic acid, and in both the process it releases some amount of energy, but energy is very less as compared to the aerobic respiration. So this process, in this process the lactic acid is formed, and due to the formation of lactic acid in the muscle cell, the muscle cramp occurs. You know about muscle cramp, when you do heavy exercise or when you jump too much, suddenly you have to run. So then your muscle starts paining. So that pain is due to the deposition of lactic acid. And how will you get relief of it? You get relief of it when you do a hot water bath on when you massage the muscle. So this is because the lactic acid is formed when heavy exercise is done. So this is the reason. And now tell me the answer. So it will be glucose first gets converted to cytoplasm, then cytoplasm to pyruvate. In the cytoplasm it gets converted to pyruvate, and pyruvate in the muscle cell it gets converted to lactic acid plus energy. So it will be option. It will be option A. Okay, I think it's clear to you. So next, the energy released during cellular respiration is used to synthesize ATP. The energy released during the process of cellular respiration, either it is aerobic or anaerobic. So as we have already discussed this, this one. You see, in these two states, glucose gets converted to ethanol and glucose gets converted to lactic acid, and both these states are anaerobic states. These states are anaerobic states. These two states are anaerobic states. But this process, glucose gets converted to pyruvate and gets then enters into the mitochondria and releases carbon dioxide and water, and this process is the aerobic state. So in both the process, energy is released. Here you see the energy is released in the form of ATP. So you know about ATP. ATP is the energy currency of the cell, and its full form is, who can say? Its full form is adenosine triphosphate. The full form of ATP is adenosine triphosphate. ATP is formed, and ATP is not the energy. Actually, ATP is energy currency. Here, it is the energy is stored, and whether the cell or whether any process, when it needs energy, it releases the energy from the ATP. What happens when ATP it is broken down to ADP plus inorganic phosphate plus energy. The energy is released and this energy is being utilized. Similarly, during the formation, the ADP, which is an inorganic phosphate which is present inside the cell, is being used to form the ATP. As you can say that ATP is a charged battery. Okay, when this battery is utilized, it becomes ADP. So the energy is stored in the form of ATP. When it is required, it is broken down and form ADP. So you can say ADP is a discharge battery. Okay, I think it's clear to you. So next question, anaerobic processes. First step, first option, takes place in yeast during fermentation, takes place in the presence of oxygen, so this cannot, anaerobic process takes place in absence of oxygen, so this is very wrong. Produces only energy in the muscle of human being. So you know that human muscle cells, the anaerobic respiration takes place as we have already discussed. So during heavy exercise, it produces anaerobically energy. But muscle cell is in muscle cell there is mitochondria. So that is not the only process. The mitochondria, that is mitochondria which is present in the muscle cells, it aerobically produces energy. So the option will be produces only energy. This is not the only energy. So muscle cell can have both aerobic and anaerobic process. So this option is also wrong. Third, it produces ethanol, oxygen, and energy. So it produces ethanol, is okay. In yeast, you know, it produces ethanol, but it does not produces oxygen. So this option is also wrong. So the option will be A. I think you got it. Next one. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct in reference to the role of diaphragm during a breathing cycle in human being? So you know the breathing cycle. So first it has role of diaphragm. You know what is diaphragm? Diaphragm is a flap-like structure which separates our abdominal cavity with the chest cavity. So when you breathe in, what happens? Our rib cage, it moves upward and outward, and the diaphragm, which is a flap-like, which is generally in a dome-shaped structure, it moves downward. As a result, our chest cavity size increases. Due to increase in the chest cavity size, the pressure inside it decreases, and air from the outside moves inside the lungs. Okay. So first, what is the function of the diaphragm? It helps to decrease the residual volume of air in lungs. It flattens as we inhale. So this will be correct. Because if you inhale, the diaphragm will flatten. It gets raised as you inhale. No, it will not get raised. It will get flatten only when we inhale. The option, it helps the chest cavity to become larger. Obviously, when you inhale, the chest cavity becomes larger because of the dome shape. So option will be 2 and 4. So A will be the answer. Clear? Very good. Okay. See, you see, this is the diaphragm and this is a dome shaped structure generally. But if you inhale, it becomes flattened. Next. In living organism during respiration, which of the following products are not formed if oxygen is not available? You can answer it obviously. The first is oxygen is not available, not formed, not available. So carbon dioxide will be formed when oxygen is not available. Similarly, carbon dioxide and alcohol will be formed. No, carbon dioxide and alcohol will be formed. Lactic acid will be formed, but alcohol will not be formed. Carbon dioxide and lactic acid. So in living organism during respiration, which of the following products are not formed if oxygen is not available? So if oxygen is not available, carbon dioxide and water will not be formed. Very simple question. And don't expect too much of hard question in the exam. Exam questions will be very, it may be tricky, but it will be very easier. Next, the separation of, next one is the circulation. Separation of the right side and left side of the heart is useful. So you know that our heart, human heart is 4 chamber. And the upper 2 chamber are called as atrium, and the lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. And the right side and the left side of the heart is also separated by a septum. So the right side, in our right side, it consists of deoxygenated blood, and the left side, it consists of oxygenated. Left side, it consists. This is the right side, it consists of deoxygenated blood, and this is the left side, it consists of oxygenated blood. Okay. The right side and left sides are being separated because oxygenated and deoxygenated blood cannot get mixed in our body, because as human and the birds, human means mammals and birds, they are warm-blooded animals, and we require a large amount of energy for maintaining our body temperature, unlike the cold-blooded animals like reptiles, fish, or amphibia. So as our energy requirement is very high, so we cannot tolerate the mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So that's why it must get separated from each other. So the answer will be, so I think the separation is to keep oxygenated blood from mixing with the deoxygenated blood. This will be the option. I think it's clear to you. It's very easy. Next. In spring, sugar stored in roots or stem tissue of plant is transported to the bud for, you know, in plants also the circulation takes place. The circulation of water and circulation of food. Circulation of food means the transportation of food in plants is called as translocation. Translocation. And translocation takes place through the phloem tissue, and its movement may be from upward to downward and downward to upward. Sometimes what happens during spring, in spring season, the plants store the food in the roots, in the form of a tuber, maybe in the form of other roots and other part of the plant. So when they store it in the roots, it must transport it to the other part for what? For the energy need of the buds to grow. Second, the temperature regulation, balancing the storage of different organ and diffusion process. So it is for the energy requirement that the plant needed for the growth of the new bud. So this process is important, translocation of food. So you read it, তোমালোকে ভালকে এটো পঢ়ি লবা, এটো translocation of food to খুবই important examination point of view পৰা। Normally কি কৰা হয় যে students বিলাকে planter part to বৰ বেছি গুৰুত্ব নিদিয়ে, কিন্তু planter part of question কেবাবাৰো আহিছে। So next, the upward movement of water in tall trees is due to এই ওখ একদম ওখ গছজোপা তোমালোকে কিমান ওখ গছ দেখা পাইছা এজোপা গছ 120 মিটাৰলৈকে ওখ হ'ব পাৰে 120 ফুটো নহয় 120 মিটাৰ So 120 meter foot গছ এজোপাৰ ওপৰলৈকে গছৰ ওপৰ টিপটোলৈকে গছৰ কি যাব পাৰে ওয়াটাৰ যায় আৰু সেই ওয়াটাৰটো ডেফিনেটলি যাবৰ কাৰণে ডেফিনেটলি এটা হিউজ ফোৰ্স লাগিব আৰু সেই হিউজ ফোৰ্সটো কেনেকে পায় তো আমি ঘৰত দুতলীয়া বিল্ডিংটোলে পানী উঠাবৰ কাৰণে এটা হিউজ 1.5 কিলোৱাটৰ মেচিন বহাব লাগে সো গছজোপা 120 মিটাৰ ওপৰত পানী উঠাই আছে তো সেই ইমান ডাঙৰ এটা ফোর্স এটো কোৰ পৰা পায় আৰু সেই ফোর্সটো পৰা মেইন জায়গাটো হৈছে ট্ৰান্সপিৰেশন গছৰ লিভছত সৰু কিছুমান ফোর্স আছে and this force are called as stomata so stomata তোমালোকে সকলে চিনিয়ে পোৱা so this is the structure of the stomata and these two cells are called as guard cells guard cell is a kidney shaped cell or a guard cell the opening and closing of stomata is due to the activity of the guard cell jete guard cell to open hoy tenahole ki kore it loses water or he opening and closing of stomata it creates a suction force open close hoy ase onaborte tenahole hi ki hobo okoman force create koribo suction force create koribo aru gosor upor lifoto eta stomata nai lakh stomata ase gutekhini stomata jetia opening and closing of koribo hey process to ketia hoy during transpiration loss of water loss koribor karone jetia transpiration kore tetia gosjupa uporle pani uthi jay baba pani loss kori gosjupa pani uporle uthai so that is why this process the transpiration is called as necessary evil transpiration is called as necessary evil because during the process of transpiration water is lost but because of that loss plants gets the water pani loss kori gosjupa pani to absorb kori ase so this is the transpiration for because of which the upward movement of water in all plants takes place next question okay thin wall vessels are called as so amar jeto circulation hoy blood circulation er kotha koi asu so blood circulation hole our circulatory system consists of a heart blood vessels aru blood ami blood er kotha eta discuss na koro blood vessels amar tini prokar blood vessels ase eta blood vessels hoise artery eta blood vessels hoise vein aru eta blood vessels hoise capillary arteries kun bilak je jibilak heart or pora jibilak ke blood to loi jay the vessels from which the blood from the heart moves to different part of the body blood from the heart moves to different part of the body is called arteries similarly from different parts of the body blood is carried by a kind of vessels and that vessels are called as vein and in between veins and arteries so they are very thin sometimes one cell very thin blood vessels are there and their blood vessels are called as capillaries actually capillaries connect the one minute capillaries connect the arteries and veins next question identify the two component of the phloem tissue that help in transporting food in plants so as I have already discussed in the last question that the transportation of plants takes place to the phloem so you probably have studied in class 9 also that phloem is a kind of complex permanent tissue and the phloem have 4 different types of cells and these cells are number 1 seed tubes number 2 companion cell number 3 phloem parenchyma and number 4 phloem sclerenchyma out of this except phloem sclerenchyma or phloem it is also called as phloem fiber all are living cells so here the mainly responsible phloem part 2 হৈছে the sieve tube. Sieve tubes are the main so sieve tubes and companion cells, they are mainly responsible for transportation of food. Next question. So you see this is the structure of the vein and arteries, and these veins and arteries are joined together by arterioles. I have discussed the last question. Okay, this one. Now read the question. So which one of the following statement is correct about human circulatory system? Number 1. Blood transport only oxygen and not carbon dioxide. Is it a correct statement? No. Blood transport both oxygen and carbon dioxide. But the thing is that as the carbon dioxide is more soluble in water, so the transportation of oxygen is more. Around 97% of oxygen is being transported by blood, RBC of the blood. So blood transport both carbon dioxide and oxygen. Next, human heart is 5 chamber. No, human heart is 4 chamber. Valves ensure that the blood does not flow backward. So this is also a correct statement. Both oxygen rich and oxygen deficient blood gets mixed in the heart. So this is also wrong. Human heart is 5 chamber. This is also wrong. Blood transport only oxygen, not carbon dioxide. This is also wrong. The only answer is the correct answer is valves ensures that blood does not flow backward. Next question. So this is the circulatory system that I have already discussed. Okay, next. So this is a assertion reasoning question. Try to answer. Number 1, assertion. Amphibians can tolerate the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. This is the assertion. Reason is that amphibians are animals with 2-chambered heart. Human or mammals and birds, they are 4-chambered. They have 4-chambered heart, and they need a complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. As I have already told you, that these organisms, the mammals and birds, they need huge amount of energy for maintaining body temperature. So there is the need of complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. But amphibians and reptiles, they are cold-blooded animals. Their body temperature is dependent on the environmental temperature. So if there is very hot, their body temperature will go up. If there is very cold, their body temperature is cool down. So their energy requirement is very low as compared to the mammals and birds. So amphibians so that is why they can tolerate the mixing. Not only amphibians, even the reptiles also, they can tolerate the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. This assertion is correct. Reason is that amphibians are animals with 2-chambered heart. No, amphibians and reptiles are 3-chambered. 2-chambered heart is of fish. So assertion is correct and reason is wrong. So the option will be C. I think it is clear to you. So next one. What is the common between extensive network of blood vessels around wall of alveoli and glomerulus of nephron? This is from the part of the excretion. So you know about glomerulus. We'll discuss it. So the common thing is in between both the alveoli and the glomerulus of the nephron in the kidney is that they have thin wall capillaries which are richly supplied with blood. The option will be D. Next question. Okay. Hemodialysis has semi-permeable lining of tubes which help. Okay, do you know what is hemodialysis? Hemodialysis means artificial kidney. When a person's kidney does not work properly, so the blood of the person is to be cleaned with the help of a machine that is called hemodialysis, or it is called as artificial kidney. So this is the process. So here you see the blood of the patient is taken out and it is allowed to pass through a selectively permeable membrane inside a apparatus or inside a container, you can say. So where there is a solution, that solution is called dialyzing solution. Okay, and dialyzing solution, the component of the dialyzing solution is almost similar like blood, except the fact that it does not contain nitrogenous waste. And when the blood passes through the semi-permeable membrane, so the nitrogenous waste present in the blood, it goes to the dialyzing solution. Okay, and the blood gets clean, and this clean blood is again put into the vein of the patient. So this whole process is called as dialysis, and this machine is called as hemodialysis or artificial kidney. So nowadays it is very common. So if a person's kidney gets failed, so he must do this process at a definite interval, maybe 15 days, maybe sometimes maybe once in a week. So what will be the answer? The hemodialysis is the semi-permeable membrane lining of the tubes which help try to answer to filter nitrogenous waste from the dialyzing. No, sorry. So it will be option. In passing the waste product in the dialyzing solution. Okay, next question. Which of the following is not a function of artificial kidney? So artificial kidney, as I have told, it's nothing but the hemodialysis. Not the function. So remember this word when you study MCQ question. Just try to remember this word while you read the answer. To remove nitrogenous waste from blood, to remove excess fluid from blood, to reabsorb essential nutrients from blood, to filter and purify the blood. So the hemodialysis process, it cannot reabsorb essential nutrient as what can be done in our kidney, nephron of the kidney. It can reabsorb, but hemodialysis means the artificial kidney, it cannot reabsorb the essential nutrient from the blood. Next question. Which part of the nephron in human kidneys serve the function of reabsorption of certain substances? So this is the structure of a nephron. So nephron, so this drawing is quite complicated, so I will try to draw a simple drawing. So just make a cup-like structure, and this cup-like structure is called as Bowman capsule. And just make a tube-like structure. So this will be the simpler version of this. Okay. So here, this is the glomerulus. Okay. So this part is called as the tubule. So what is the function of the tubule? So glomerulus part, what it do? So the glomerulus will filter the blood because the wall of the glomerulus is very thin. So most of the thing most of the component of the blood will pass to the Bowman capsule. Okay, and this is called as initial filtrate. In initial filtrate, amino acids, sugar, most of the water, urea, most of the things will pass to the Bowman capsule, and it will move to the tubule. In the tubule, so this blood capillaries which is around, which wrap around the tubule, so it will selectively reabsorb the component which is required by the body, leaving the toxic substances including urea. So this structure means that whole reabsorption process will be done by the tubule part of the nephron. So the answer will be tubule. So next. So the question is that what are the process that the plant follow for excretion? So they can get rid of excess water by transpiration. So you know that the plant can get rid of excess water by the process of transpiration. So this option is correct option. They selectively filter toxic substance through their leaves. No, plants cannot selectively filter the toxic substance because plants do not have such any systems in their body. Third is that the waste products are stored in resistance gums in the old xylem. So this option is also correct. The excess waste substance in the soil is around the soil. This option is also correct. So this is the wrong option and this is the option you have to click. Okay. So these are some of the very important questions that we have discussed today. So there are lots more to come. So in the next classes, I will give some more questions to you. আৰু বহুত সুন্দৰ question মই বিচাৰি লৈ আহিম তোমালোকৰ কাৰণে এইবিলাক question আজি যিখিনি ডিসকাস কৰিলো তোমালোকে এবাৰ ট্রাই কৰিবা এখিনি কৰিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিবা আৰু গোটেই চেপ্টাৰটো খুব সুন্দৰভাৱে পঢ়িবলৈ ট্রাই কৰিবা ঠিক আছে ধন্যবাদ আকৌ লগ পাম কিবা যদি তোমালোকৰ questions থাকে কমেন্টত লিখিবা মই তাক সলভ কৰিব চেষ্টা কৰিম ঠিক আছে ধন্যবাদ কৰিলো আৰু ফাৰ্ষ্ট টাইম